the reshot from range, how did that happen? Bro, come on. It was a cutback. And then again, because United are terrible at defending, nobody was there. Reece was alone for that shot. And we didn't try it again. This is what I'm saying. I blame the players a bit too, because if you realize that something has been works,
for that shot to happen, bro.
But I'm saying though, once it works, why don't you try it again and again? Like if you see crossing is ineffective, but the cutback is, start doing the cutback. Like I don't understand why you continue doing, like it works. If the cutback is working, keep doing it, and that's the weakest part of their game. I don't know, man.
No, I agree, and that's why like I go back to like, yo, this team, like I hope this season they learn a lot from the season, because next season I need you to be able to be smart enough as players on the pitch to adapt your game while you're still in that half. Like you shouldn't have to wait until you get into the locker room to switch up tactic or switch up a strategy. Like as a winger, as a midfielder, as a striker, you need to be able to adapt to the game. If you see once things not working, try another thing. Like it seems like these players to a point, like, and this is, I'll even say this is a little bit to the detriment of having the like a system and a regimen way of playing, where it's like, you guys don't break out or branch out or try to be more creative than what you're trained to do. Like to an extent, you need to have a balance of it. Like you look at, for example, Luis Enrique's team. They are trained to an extent. They have a system, but at the same time, like Due, Barcola, Vitinha, they have those moments of creativity where they have to challenge themselves to think a little bit outside of the system to try to find a moment of brilliance, a moment of opportunity. Sure, if you completely disregard the system, yeah, the manager's gonna bench you, you're gonna get yelled at, and so on and so forth. But you should, like, I don't think Maresca's gonna get pissed off at you if you take a liberty here and there to create a chance. Like, I'm sure it's happened multiple times this season.
Yeah, I think the issue that we have... Yeah, the issue that we have in this team, and it's mainly in attacking areas, and you see it with this season, is we don't have a spark in attack. Like, especially with Palmer doing nothing. Like, we don't have players, like, you talk about the Enrique team, and yes, some of that is, like, play it, and they do have that ability to, like, just turn up out of nothing, right? But the other part of it is, like, look who they've got. They've got Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Due, Barco. Like, they've got guys who can create something out of nothing. Like you look at when we had Scarry.
I hope this season they learn and from that.
Marshall. You don't learn that. What I'm talking about, you cannot. I don't think you can learn to the level of what we want, right? Like, because if you look at the best wingers on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Rodrigo didn't learn. Like Rodrigo might have learned that, but part of that is like just him, Yamal, him, Vinny when he's on it. Like Vinny's maybe one of he did learn it, but also he had sort of a similar thing at Flamengo. Like, for me, that's why. Like for me, in the summer, a winger is of quality. Like if we could end the window with getting Osimhen and Rodrigo, you can go and sign me a £20 million centre back, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, I think I would be too, because he's actually sorted out our defense a lot better. From like, I don't know how many goals we conceded last season, but we kept the same defense basically.
Oh, our defense is a lot better.
Yeah, I know it's a lot better. We back at the goal.
But you know what? Scott is talking about what in a lot of sports is called the Maverick. That's what we're asking for, right? That's what Palmer was for his last season. He was that Maverick in attack where we had, people in position, but because he was able to find passes, because he was able to move in certain spaces, he was able to make sure that the other players were able to be on the receiving end, or he was able to be able to make some sort of goal scoring action. We don't have that in anybody in the squad right now. If it's not Palmer, it's legitimately nobody else. Like, then it's once in a while kind of things. And I agree. I think,
I don't think you can teach that. Like I said, I don't think you could teach that to the level we need it. Like, you cannot.
And you know what it is?
I don't know who it was. I think Mooley put it in the chat. You can't teach Neto to be Hazard. Like, I'm not teaching Neto to be Hazard. It's not happening. Not at this age. Not when he's 30. It's not happening. He will never be Hazard.
Exactly. So listen, the what we need, and this is what I saw like Maresca did in the second half, by the way, is he said we are going to leave 2 center backs. And both fullbacks are going to bomb up. We're going to go all out attack. And you see, for example, somebody like Reece James, who has that ability, who can be a Maverick in attack.
Yeah.
Look what he did. Spun, didn't even look, amazingly weighted across into the box back post, which is what I was asking for, right? Either the cutback or the cross to the back post, boom, goal. And at that point, like, you see that we have the fullbacks with the ability, but again, it's our attack that is the one who is not able to do that. They're too formulaic. They're not taking shots on target. The players are being too robotic, and I can't fault that necessarily on Maresca, because they are, what I'm saying, they lack so much in the creativity and attack, or to be able to make decision makings, that what ends up happening is poor players end up defaulting to the system. That's what poor players do. It hides their deficiencies. When the system is not there, when they have to make a decision, that's when you see what they're really made of.
In fact, can you go back to the comment you just brought up, because this is a good point I made. Everything I'm saying, because it counteracts our comment you just made about how many teams are Maverick players. The reason I'm saying this is because we have a manager and a system that is very rigid. It's very, very rigid and very robotic. It's Pep-like. Like it's Pep-like, as some people joke. And you see it again. I know that, like the Palace game today, the FA Cup final. Look at what happens with City. They don't have Mavericks anymore. They have Doku, they have Savio, they have like an aging De Bruyne, an aging Silva who looks past them. They've got a Haaland who's not going to do something unless he gets the ball. They don't have Mavericks. So when a team sits deep, when a team goes break us down, break us down from being like just through sheer force, they don't have the ability, because they don't have a Mahrez, a Sane, a Sterling at his best. They don't have Agueros. They don't have David Silva, KDB at his best. Like, when it's like I talked about earlier, Hazard, like when we were playing under Sarri, as boring as it was sometimes, there were games where he would just drag us through.
You know what?
Because he had that ability, and he had the ability to, when we were being so robotic and rigid at times, he had the ability, and obviously it's Hazard. I know, like, he's one of the best wingers we've seen in this league, but he has the ability to do something out of nothing. We don't have players in this team outside of Palmer, but he's so out of form, it's incredible. We have no one who can do that. So we need attackers that can do that, unless you're going to change the manager and go to an Inzaghi or go to an Iraola who has a fluid system where it's less robotic, it's less positional play, and this has to go there and this has to go there and then there and then there. Unless it's fluid, you have to get a Maverick or two in this front line, because these players we've got cannot and will not progress to the level we want to get playing this way, because they don't have, unless they're going to improve levels and unless they're going to show a level of improvement that we are yet to see with some of them. Like it has to come from recruitment.
You know why he's not wrong, by the way? You know why he's not wrong?
Let me just
go ahead.
Quick,
I get the Maverick argument, but I actually don't think the Maverick. I don't think it's about needing a Maverick, because realistically, we already have a Maverick in the team in terms of Palmer, right? I actually think, it's about also the quality level, right, that we have in the team too. Because we need that. That I think is another aspect that you need to be discussed. Now, let's not get it twisted. Is Madueke a good enough player for the level that we may need for the next level, right? Which is competing, competing, trying to win a title, right? That level of quality, do we have that necessarily in the team right now with Madueke? Even just trying to get top four with him, I wouldn't necessarily say so, right? I think it's a bit more of a 50-50 more than anything else. I think Pedro Neto this season, what has shown us that, at least until maybe he shows us again next season that he can do it. So far, he's shown us he's not of the level that we were probably expecting when we were trying to bring in a guy like Pedro Neto to do his job, right? Now, some might say that might be due to, of course, the attack, the lack of a striker that we have in the middle that maybe suits him more and brings out a bit more than him than him. But as so far as from what we've seen right now, I would probably say we haven't seen it from him right now as well. I think Palmer this season has shown that he still needs time, he still needs to develop. This might be his down season, even though he still had a good goal output, good assist output this season, right? And then obviously the striker Jackson, he's just not of the level at all. Let's just put it like that. At the end of the day, is he a backup for us? I think in a realistic way, he's definitely a solid backup for the team, right? But of a starter quality that we need, no. So I think when I just look at stuff like that, then it's for me about if I add the right quality, right, that can work in the system, but also they can produce moments of said quality themselves without the need of a system. That's where you want to be working with, right? Again, you've spoken about a striker in the team before. Again, another winger possibly coming in, right? Hopefully to do that job as well. And then I really do feel like, you know, you change it. It changes a bit more. It's not about bringing in Maverick. It's about bringing in higher quality players than you currently have, because it's.
I think they're linked though, because like when I say Maverick, I mean of a like I'm not talking about a St. Maximin. He's a Maverick, but he's not of the like. I'm talking about when I say Maverick, and when me and Arsenal, I'm talking more of a quality. Like I'm talking to Rodrigo, Yamal. I know we're never getting him. It's just like I have like as an example.
It's an example.
Oh, Kvara, Dembele currently, like those kind of guys. Because yes, they're Mavericks, but they're Mavericks of a quality. And the thing is, I think going back to the striker thing quickly, I think yesterday for me is a perfect example, well not perfect, but I think was a good example of. I don't think even having a striker is the be all and end all. I think it's a large portion, but even though Georges wasn't a striker and isn't a striker yesterday, he made 3 or 4 runs and we found him like once. So like you put Osimhen in that team, and yeah, he's probably getting on a couple of the crosses, but he can make 1,000,000 runs. If he's not being found, then it doesn't matter. And I think that was like you saw yesterday that I think like while 70% of our issues are a striker, there's also another 30% of like you just need to have, like you mentioned, Armin, like we're spoken about, a bit of quality in terms of pick your head up, look for the players. You know, Enzo, you can hit those balls. I know you can hit them. Palmer, I know you can do those. You do those. Why is it that Caicedo needs to step up and do that for us to maybe try and get a penalty with the one time you found George in the game, the whole game, the one time you found George with a run in behind, and it's Caicedo making that, and we nearly get something from it. You know, Neto, why are you trying to hit crosses from the right-hand side constantly? Why don't you try and like feed the striker in when he made a run near post and you wanted to play it back inside? And it's the same to an extent with Madueke. He was a bit better doing it, but it's still not good enough.
But
I think.
And you know where I agree with Scott 100% on the quality issues. I mean, you look at this season, what happens to Pep's system when there's not the quality players in it, when the quality falls off, right? Because he still has KDB, he still has Gundogan, but they're worse. And look at how drastic the drop off has been when the quality just drops. Certain systems necessitate that in a lot of positions you have the best of the best, right? And with the way that Maresca wants to play, we can't afford to just have middling players week in, week out as our starters, because we will suffer, bro. We will suffer. So we need the quality players, and then the system looks a lot better. It's that simple. It's a quality issue at this point.
And I think RSM, the City point too, because I know someone made a point of like Rodri is their game changer, him being out. I don't think that's the issue with Rodri. I think that Rodri and Caicedo, I think, live in the same space in terms of they are the floor setters of their teams. Like I think if Rodri's in this City team, they don't drop as much as they do because I think he raises the floor. Like I think he stops them being as bad defensively. I think he sets a level, but I don't think he's raising the level of them going forward. So like he's not gonna. Him alone will not make them a title winner. Same as Caicedo alone, I don't think makes us a title challenge. You've seen it this season. He has played to a best in the world, best in the league, definitely, arguably best in the world level at centre mid. He has set the floor. So like yesterday, for example, perfect example is the game yesterday. The reason we stayed in that game mostly is because of Caicedo.
Yeah, 100%.
And also United is shit, but in terms of we had no midfield if it wasn't for Caicedo.
Yeah.
So he sets the floor of this team and go, okay, you're never going to drop below this because he sets that level. As long as you don't leave him on an island for, the whole season. Thank you, coach. But like, he sets that level, that base level. Same with Rodri. He sets that base level of like, as long as I'm in the team and I'm performing, you will never drop below it. But once he gets to the front line, it's like, they're the ones that are going to raise this ceiling and push it to where the title challenges or we're winning titles or winning stuff. And that's where the problem lies. Like, I don't think that we're going to hit that until we invest in the quality in the front line.
I mean,
no matter who we have in defense and who we have in the midfield.
I agree with what you're saying. Pretty much all of it. But I feel like there's a nuance that I feel like adds a factor. Because you say bringing in the quality players, and I agree with that. I do to an extent, and this is going back to Ahmed's point, and maybe I'll extend the question to you guys as well. I, to an extent, also think it is a confidence thing. Like let's not forget that we went into a horrible patch of form before we came into this patch, where a lot of us on the panel, in Twitter, in the chat, were doubting that we were going to get, top 6. I mean, mind you, we could still fall out of it, but regardless, I don't think anyone thought we would even be anywhere close to it at this point of the season. And that confidence did affect our whole team. We shored up in the defense, and to an extent, our attack still isn't firing off like it did in the beginning of the season. But I'll tell you this: if we have a Nani Madueke who is fully confident and on his game, and we have that on both of our wings, I would say like that is maybe not the Lamine Yamal, right? But he is a quality enough winger that he can be a difference maker. He can be, to an extent, like that Maverick you're talking about. At his best. We're talking like a Wolves type of performance, like at his best.
Yeah, but I don't think Noni at his best is going to be a starter for a team that wins a league title or challenges for a league title. And I like Noni.
But even with a striker, like a proper striker, you don't think that.
Actually, let me rephrase. It depends.
Yeah.
If Noni is the 4th best attacker in an attack, then yes. It's the same way I've said before I'd be happy going into a next season with a front line of like Rodrigo, Palmer, Osimhen, and if you had like Esteval on the right, because Esteval in that situation is the 4th best attacker. He is the one under the least amount of pressure in that attack. So it's like, cool. If Noni is the 4th best attacker in an attack and under the least amount of pressure, yes. If we are going into next season where our attack is the same as it is this season with Osimhen in the front line, you're still seeing some problems. Because the thing is, I say, and where I'd push back on the confidence thing, because I hear the argument, but where I'd push back is he was confident after, like, he's had, 2, 3, 4 games at left wing at this point, playing really well.
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah.
Goes into Newcastle playing the same position. Horrible.
Disappeared. Yeah.
So it's not just a confidence thing. Comes into this game, misses 2 shots. That's not a confidence thing. Like, and it's also
an ongoing thing this
season,
by the way.
I say it's also like
multiple times.
Using Noni for the confidence thing it seems weird because he doesn't come across as a player that's lacks confidence in himself.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing as well. I'm not saying he has an ego, but it's like he doesn't come across that type of player, and it's like the same with Neto. Like they're just patchy, they're streaky. Like Kishan says, they're inconsistent. I think that's more what it is than anything, and it's like I said, it's just a case of I think it's just quality. Like I think some of these guys, I think we have a lot of players who could be very good squad players for us, but they're not locked in starters. And I said this on a stream I was on, or a video I did a little bit earlier than it was out yet, where the number of players in our team I think you could say are unsellable. I think this says actually a lot in terms of the quality. I think the number of players in our team you could sell are unsellable at any price. You could probably count on one hand. So like, that's where I say of like, and none of them I think include our wingers. None of those players include our strikers. Like,
yeah. No, and
that's why I just don't think the quality is there. Because like, for example, if you put Rodrigo, Osimhen, let's say a Bisek, like, and then you add Santos and Petrovic, all of a sudden, there's at least 4 of those 5 you'd say are locked in starters and probably unsellable.
Sure.
The only one of an argument maybe, because I know some people are still unconvinced, is Petrovic, and even let's say 3, depending on the centre back, right, that you want to get. But that's where I say of like, you can't say that about some of our players, even if they're putting in good performance, you know.
And I get that. I just feel that, like, moving this past Nani, one thing I will say on Nani, that yesterday's game made me realize, like, bro, if you can just polish up on your finishing, your I guess your rating as a striker, or not a striker, I'm sorry, as a winger goes up. Like, I just genuinely do believe that, because he does get himself in very good positions. He's our best dribbler in the team. I still believe that. Maybe an argument with Jaden, but he does get into danger positions. He does miss goals. Like, his finishing has been an issue this whole season, where it's like, if you were just better at finishing, if you were more clinical in front of the net, I truly believe Nani would be over. Actually, how many goals is he at right now? He's at 7, 8
7, 8.
In the league or in all comps?
in league.
League is about 8.
7, I think.
I would generally believe he'd be over 10 goals right now.
He's not over 10 in the Premier League.
No, I'm just saying if he were to work on his finishing.
Oh,
if he
yeah,
had
well, yeah.
gotten that part down in his game, which to an extent, Scott's right as well about that. Like sometimes with that finishing, it just comes naturally. But I do think you can improve on that. You can also, slightly get better. But there's a lot of it that comes down to just a natural ability. I do think if he works on that finishing, he's a 10-goal season in the league striker. Or I keep saying striker, winger. But another thing I wanted to bring up in this discussion as well is, does any one of us also think that this could potentially be the whole player restriction, the Maverick conversation we're having? Does anyone also believe this could also be the whole first year of a system tax, and maybe next season with other players with a season, under your belt of the system, maybe we see more of, expressing yourself on the pitch type football with a combination of a system?
But you know why I don't want to fall into that trap? Because I think under the second year of a system, you can get better, right? We might go from being, ending up fifth, ending up second, but then we'll be stuck in the same fucking trap that we end up with Arsenal. And the same thing, same thing we said for Jackson, we said for Nani, right? You can only get so many, right? I think you can get better at finishing, but only at certain types of finishes, right? When you're finishing the type of easy chances, you can get better at that, right? But when it's a very close game, when you get a half chance, those are not, like, you can practice those way less. That is more down to your ability, right? That's more down to stuff that you can't necessarily train. That comes down to experience and ability and talent. And I think if we fall into the trap saying like, oh, these players will get better second season, we're falling to the Arsenal trap. If we with right now, if we just get better quality, we're challenging for the league. That's not me bullshitting. That's the numbers. That's the fact that we were up there until December. This is not me pulling this out of my ass out of nowhere. The numbers are there and the facts are there. And if we had better quality, we're challenging for the league. I do not want to fall into the Arsenal trap of saying we're gonna get a slight upgrade here. We can get this person and they'll improve this. Like, no, bro. We are very close because we have somebody, we have Palmer in the 10. Hopefully he gets better next season, right? Which we return to form. We got Caicedo, you feel me? We got Cucurella, we got Reece James, we got Lavio. We have enough in the midfield for me to be confident that we can do something. Because if we have Sanchez in goal and we are still somehow the third or fourth best defense in the league,
that's so true.
That I'm telling you, we're only a couple pieces away. I don't want to fall into this trap of doing these side grades or marginal improvements. Get me the quality players now, and we will win now. We're in a win now situation. We're not in a win now later. A win later situation was 2 years ago. This is now a win now situation. And this summer, we need to get UCL, and then we need to back the team because we're in the win now situation right now.